Hey, Steven, how are you? Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Professor. How are you?
Hey, Rose, how you doing, Rosario? Good?
Doing well. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
And you?
I'm okay, hanging in there.
You're always looking good, Professor.
All right, thank you.
Always very cool.
Got to be, got to hold it, man. Life is so short, Rose. You have no idea. Maybe you do. It is so short. Don't sweat the small stuff. Whatever it is, it can be fixed. Um, I can talk to some of you now. Our midterm is next Thursday. Yeah, next, not this Thursday coming, the following, which is the 25th. Everybody's fine. The midterm will consist of some of the quiz questions. That's what it's going to be, and very similar. Nah, you got this. I'm going to make it. What I'm going to do is it's going to be 90 minutes. Yes, on the 25th. I was going to make it 25 questions. I'm making it 20. Right? 20 questions. And right. And everybody knows all these questions already. You know, you're familiar. It's just that when you are under the gun, when you're under the gun, meaning, you know, the pressure's on, it might, you know, and it's only one try. But keep in mind, have your little formula sheet around so that you'll be able to read it. Have your little formula sheet so you'll be able to read it. And then that way you'll know exactly how to dissect any problems that you have. You know, you're going right into it, you know exactly what to do. right? So tonight we're going to go over some, we're going to go over the homework, and then there are a couple of questions on the quiz that I know that you guys don't know how to do for chapter 5. I already assigned it. It's due Thursday. And then we'll we'll review on tonight, Thursday and Tuesday, and then the midterm is next week on my lab. Don't come to class. To go directly. Don't come to Blackboard Ultra. Go into my lab, just like you would do a homework and all that. You'll see it there, and go right into it. It'll be available at 8. It'll be available from 8 o'clock till 10, and you have 90 minutes to complete it, all right, during class time. Next Thursday, the 25th. Okay, so let's start with, hold on one second. You know what? Let me go over these things that you guys don't know how to do. Hold on one second. Okay, can everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay, so you are thinking about leasing a car, right? The purchase price of the car is $34,000. The residual value, the amount you could pay to keep the car at the end of the lease, is $15,000 at the end of 36 months. Assuming the lease payment is due 1 month after you get the car, the first interest rate implicit in the lease is 5.75 compounded monthly. What will be your lease payment for a 36-month lease? Okay, now listen to me. When you lease a car, the reason why the lease is less expensive than buying the car is that you only paying or leasing, renting the car, like same thing like leasing, only for 36 months. So it's only a partial payment, right? So that's why the lease is much cheaper, right? The advantage of having a lease also is that every 3 years you get a new car, but you'll always have a note, right? You never have to worry about fixing it or anything like that because the warranties and stuff like that are good on it for those 3 years that you drive it. I always lease, right? So the way you're going to do this problem, okay? The way you're going to do this problem, you've never done this before, okay? So first thing you're going to do, you're going to put $34,000, which is the purchase price of the car, and you're going to put negative 34,000 minus. Okay, that's the first thing you're going to do. Now we can work on the problem. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to take the present value of the residual and we're going to subtract it from this 34,000. Okay, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to take the present value of 15,000 going out 36 months. So it's going to be N equals 36. IY equals 5.75 divided by 12, right? Future value, payment is 0. Future value is 15,000. And then compute for present value. You should get about 12,000 something. What'd you get?
12,628.58.
All right, subtract that from the 34,000. Subtract that from the 34,000.
$21,371.43.
All right, hold that number right there. Hold that number right there. So now we're going to say N equals 36. IY equals 5.75. We're solving for payment now. Future value is 0. Present value is that $21,000 that you told me. Put that number in there as the present value.
Would it be
And then compute for payment. What did you get?
1,408?
No, it can't be that much. Can't be that much. Can't be that much. $21,000 is your present value. Compute for payment. Somebody else.
647.74.
Good. All right. So let's do that one more time. One more time. So the purchase price of the car, you put down right away. That's the first thing you put down. You put negative in front of it and back next to it, right? Like you subtracting. And then you take the present value of 15,000, right? Which is the residual, right? You need to take this out of that because this is at the end of the lease. But we're calculating what the lease is for now. So we need the present value of this. Know the concept behind it so it makes sense to you, right? So let's take the present value of this and then subtract it from the 34,000. So N equals 36. IY equals 5.75 divided by 12, right? Payment is 0. Future value, what it's going to be worth at the end of the lease is 15,000. And then compute for present value. Once you know that number, it's about 12,000, you subtract it from the purchase price of the lease. And that's the amount that you're going to be financing in your lease. Right? Now let's calculate for payment. Once you know the amount that's left when you subtract when you subtract the present value of the residual from the purchase price, right? Now we can solve our payment. We know what we're financing, right? So N we want to do for 36 months, right? N equals 36. IY equals 5.75 divided by 12, right? IY equals 5.75 divided by 12. We're solving for payment, right? So we leave payment alone. Future value is 0. Future value is 0. And then we put in the 21,000, which is the present value, and then we compute for payment. Now listen to me. Listen to me. Someone said $1,000, right? Now let's look at this logically. If something is $21,000 and I have 36 months to pay for it, right? If it's $1,000, I'm going to be paying $36,000 something. That can't be right. That can't be right. And another thing that people do during the exam is that they subtract this 15,000 without taking the present value of it, right? This happens at the end of the lease. We're trying to calculate the lease payments now. So we need to take the present value of this. Don't take the present value of 34,000. No, right? So again, N, right, is equals, you want to get this right here. N equals 36. IY equals 5.75 divided by 12. Payment is 0. Future value is 15,000, and then compute for present value. The amount, the present value you get for the residual amount, you subtract from the purchase price of the lease. When you get that amount, that's the amount that you're going to calculate the payment on, right? Because that's what you're financing. So then you say N equals 36, IY is 5.75. You're solving for payment, so you leave that alone. Future value is 0. There's no future value in this, right? And then what's the present? I have present value of this right now. And that's what you do with the $21,000, the net between these two. And then you calculate the payment. Please, please, yes.
So for the present value that we use in the second part of the question, is it going to be the purchase price minus the present value you got in the first part of the question?
The present value that we use in the first part, which is this, we're going to subtract it from the purchase price. Yes. That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then you know how much you're financing. And this is exactly how a lease works, just like that. There are no other secrets, no nothing. That's how the lease works. The reason why the lease is cheaper, because you're only financing $21,000 of it. Right?
Professor, where did you get the $21,000?
The $21,000, hold on. The $21,000 is the present value of the residual subtracted from the purchase price.
Okay,
Right?
thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. But logically, we're thinking of it logically, right? We go in and don't let these guys fool you. Right? You go in, you see the purchase price of the car, okay? And you say to them, what's the residual amount? And then they tell you, and then you can take it from there. And then you'll be able to see if they're fooling you or not. Just like this.
So if you are basically, if there's a high residual value, then it's going to look like you have a smaller lease, but then you just have to pay a bunch at the end? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying to you is that they know the residual value. In other words, after the lease is done, after the lease is done, the book value of the car is about 15 grand. You can buy that. You can buy the car, right? Assume, right, at the end of the lease, that's what you can pay for the car. You can buy it because that happens. Some people go into a car and they lease it and they love the car. They love the car and they don't want to give it up. So they end up buying it at the end. And that's what happens here. You're going to pay 15,000. Now you're going to finance, if you don't have the 15 grand up front, you have to finance that. Now you're going to take the future value of this at this interest rate. But we're not doing that. We're not doing that. What we're trying to calculate is how much the lease payments are based on this $15,000 residual. Right? Once we get the present value of that, we subtract it from the purchase price. Right? Once we do that, we're able to get the financing for the lease. Now, if you're buying the car, if you're buying the car, you're going to have to finance this whole $34,000, right? At 5.75. And if it's at 36 months, now we can talk, it could be like $1,000 a month. It could be a lot. That's why when you buy the car, they spread it out to 72 months because your payments will be very high. They spread it out to like 48 months, 60 months, 72. They go as high, I heard the other day, up to, what is it, 7 years or something like that? You get a lot of time now, right? So the payments will be really less, right? Because not too many people have $1,000 to spend on a car. So we clear here?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. There was one more that I didn't think. You guys did that. You guys did this. Okay. Let's go over the homework. Let's go over the homework. Preview. Okay. So this right here is the breaking down of the interest on a 2-year, right? So the 6 months, right? There are 4 6 months in a 2-year. So what you have to do is you say 1.19, right? This 19% gets converted into a decimal, right? The exponent of 0.25 minus 1. Once you get that answer, you move the decimal point 2 places and you convert it into a percentage, which is the 444. You do the same thing here. This is 0.50, right? 1.19, the exponent of 0.50. And this one, I believe it's, hold on. One divided by 0.24. The exponent of 0.041116, and you come out to 0.727, right? For the last one. Yes.
Do we divide the rate by, let's say, 2 or 4, like by M?
No, this one, no. There's no division here. Remember I said, Michelle, depending on the question, there's no division here. Here you have division, right? So here, what you're going to do, you're going to say 0.17 divided by 12 plus 1, the exponent of 12, with these, right? The exponent of 12 minus 1. Here,
How do you know which one to use?
I told you based on the, you asked me that last time. I said based on the questions when you're converting it, based on the question being asked. And then on this one, the second part, someone wrote me an email, and the reason is they are giving you the rate already. They're telling you what the rate is every 6 months. So here, all you do is say 1 plus +0.08, the exponent of 2, minus 1 is 1664.
That was my question. Thank you for clarifying, Professor.
Okay. I didn't want to mention your name.
No, all good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Um,
Wait, Professor, so with that previous question, we know which one to use based off of the information they give us. So in this case,
yeah,
they
here's
gave us
7%.
APR.
Yeah.
Use
So
APR.
2.07 squared. They tell you.
Yeah, okay. So you see
They tell
APR,
you.
use the EAR.
This one right here, they
Mhm.
changed the numbers. So here it is, right? This one right here is 0.1380, right? Divided by 12 plus 1, the exponent of 12, right? So like, yeah. Is it with 13? I'm sorry, 13. 0.13 divided by 12 plus 1, the exponent of 12 minus 1. And again, they gave you the rate 7%. So 1.07, the exponent of 2 minus 1.
And the letter M means just time in months, right? Or-
Yeah.
Okay.
How many 6 months are there in a year?
2.
All right. So here we calculate the EAR, 0.25 per month, right? 1.0025. You convert this into a decimal, and the exponent of 12 minus 1, you come out to this. And this is quarterly. So it pays 4 times a year. 1.0065, exponent of 4 minus 1. Right? Move the decimal place, 26255. So 0.25 is higher. If I was taking this class, all these little things I will write somewhere and have as my go-to sheet. As my go-to sheet. That way, and then I know how to read it, not just scribble things down. Right? I know exactly how to read my notes. And then I won't, I don't want to use the word panic, but I won't have that much, I won't have a lot of concerns when I'm taking the exam. Same thing here. right? Yearly is yearly, so that stays the same, right? The only thing that changes is the one for the monthly. Whatever your interest is for the year, that's what it is, right? Compounded annually, so that's what you're going to be getting. And then this one is daily, so it's 365. Okay, so you're buying a bike or motorcycle, right? So they're already giving you, they converted the 5-year already to the months, so you don't have to do that. So N equals 60, because this is saying compounded your monthly payment. N equals 60. IY, so you want this, this is yearly, right? But you want it to match monthly. So you have to divide it by 12. So you're going to say 60 and then 5.25 divided by 12 so it can match these months, right? We're calculating for payment. So we skip payment. Future value is 0. Future value is 0. And then we put this $9,300 into the present value, and then we compute for payment. And here we go. This is exactly what the dealership would do, what we just did. There are no other secrets. There's nothing. You come in with your calculator, he tells you how much, and the only thing that might be different is if you can get a better rate because you have better credit than this. This is a high rate. If you have excellent credit, this might be less, and your payments will be less because this affects this. Okay. All right. So now let's calculate the payment, and then we can calculate how much goes towards the car and how much goes towards the interest. I mean the principal, and how much goes towards the interest. Now, what happens is, as you're paying on the car, you are lowering the amount that you owe. So the interest becomes less and less and less. But you are still tagging, you're still hitting the principal with more, right? Because the car keeps going down, right? This amount keeps going down as you're making your payments. So the interest amount is less, right? So we have to calculate what the payments are, right? So this right here is different from the lease because we're calculating the purchase price of the car, right? So this is the purchase price of the car. So N equals, what did they say here? Take out a car. All right, so N equals 60, right? Because it's 5 years, has to be converted, right? IY equals 6 divided by 12, right? 6 divided by 12. And then future value is 0. And then we put present value, which is 29,000. And then we compute for payment. So we're going to come out to 4,560.65, right? Now, the way that we're going to see how much goes into the interest amount, we're going to say 6 divided by 12. And the answer we get to that, we put 2 zeros in front of it, right? And then we multiply by 29,000. So 6 divided by 12 is 0.05, right? So 0.005 times 29 is 145. And so there's your answer right there. And I'm very happy to see that I see a lot of good grades on the homeworks, and also on so far so good. I'm happy that we this is a pretty good class. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay, so here, this question is on your test. Okay, I'm telling you now. Right? So what happens is you put 1,100,000 to the side and you put a negative next to it. Right? And then we're going to calculate the mortgage payments. And then we're also going to calculate the balance. Right? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to convert 30 years into months. So 30 years to months is N equals 360. IY, we're calculating now the payments. IY equals 7.75 divided by 12. So this can match the monthly divided by 12, right? We're solving for payment. We leave payment alone. Future value is 0 and present value is 800,000. Okay? Now that we've got the payment amount, now what happens is we have been living in the house for 222 months, right? And when we bought the house, we bought it at 360. So the net between what we've paid and what is owed is 138. 18 and a half months, 18 and a half years converted into months is 222. Subtract that from the 360, the original contract, right? We're left with 138. So now we can calculate the balance, right? So N equals 138, IY equals 7.75. Payment is what we calculated when we did this 800,000, right? That goes into payment. Future value is 0. And then we compute for present value. Once we get that answer, we subtract it from what we sold the house for, and what's left over is our profit. So it'll look like this. You see how they do this right here? They make this 1.1. That's the first thing you should do in the exam if you see this question, is to take what you sold the house for and do this. And put a negative there, right? And then you do everything that we've just gone over. You calculate what your mortgage is, your mortgage payments are from the original balance, the initial balance. And then after that, the net between what was initially done, when you first got it, the 30-year, and then you pay 18 and a half. You pay 222 months, right? So what's left, you owe 138. So you do that, 138, and then the IY is 7.75 divided by 12 is 0.64583. You put the payment amount, and then you come out to this present value. There's no future value here. You come out to this present value. Once you do that, you subtract it. Now, one of the things that you gotta pay attention to, right? That's gonna come up when you're working at the bank. That's gonna come up when you're working for a mortgage company, wherever you are. Follow the rules. Round to the nearest dollar, round to the nearest cent, round to 2 decimal places. Follow the rules. This right here, do this first, and you won't mess this up. Because what happens is, I see people using this number, and then it's all messed up. It's all messed up. So first thing, if you can see, I kid you not, it's right here. Okay, so here's another one, right? Your income has gone up, and you want to pay an additional amount. So we want to solve for n. But first, we need to get the present value of this, right? So this is saying 4 years. So 4 years is equal to 48 months, right? 4 years is equal to 48 months. So n is going to equal 48. IY is going to equal 9 divided by 12. Payment is going to be negative 500. Future value is 0, and then compute for present value. Right? Now, we're solving for n, so we leave n alone. We're going to say 9 divided by 12. Now we have additional money we can pay. So payment is equal to negative 750. Negative 750. Remember now, we got a better job. As I explained before, we're able to pay more money. Payment is equal to negative 750. Future value is 0. Present value is whatever amount that we got when we did this part. And then we compute for payment. And it's going to look something like this. Right? Whenever we have two things going on, present value and payment, one of them has to be a negative. Right? They both can't be going in the same direction. You're going to get an error message on your calculator. Right? You're going to get an error message. And then you calculate for n. So the answer is, hold on one second. The answer is 30.02, which is a significant, you cut out like 18 months because the original was for 48. Now you're down to 30 just by paying an additional $250 a month. And some of you are going to come to that. As your income goes up, you're able to pay more on whatever outstanding loans you have. And then once you be able to do that, you'll be able to cut down what you're financing. We talked about that. This is just to let you see nominal divided by inflation, 1.0526, which is the nominal rate. right? And then we subtract it by the inflation. I'm sorry, we divide it by the inflation minus 1. So that's your real raise. What happens is this. If inflation is 5%, right, and you get a 10% raise, your actual raise is 5%, meaning the inflation took away 5% of your purchasing power. Despite the fact that you got 10, it really represents 5 because your purchasing power has decreased based on the inflation rate. That's what the inflation rate means. Your purchasing power has decreased by this amount. This is 199. Okay, this right here, the way you have to look at this is to take, you have 4,580 in your friend's landscaping business, and he says that he's going to give you 5,773, right? And it's 10%. However, you feel that other investment of equal to your friend's landscaping business offer an expected return of 10%. If you take the present value of this, and if it's higher than what your initial investment is, your friend is giving you a lot more than 10%. So you should take this because it's higher, the present value is higher. So here's what you do. To check if you want to see how much the rate of return is on this, just for, as we say, just for argument's sake, right? So n equals 1, we leave IY alone, and we leave payment alone. Present value, we're going to put negative 4,580, and future value, we're going to put 5,773, positive. And we compute for IY. And I know damn well, excuse me, I know for a fact that it's much higher than 10%. So this is good. This is bigger than your initial investment. Your future, your present value. Okay. All right. I don't think that I want to give any questions on the midterm since we're going to have 20 questions on chapter 1. Right? That's very basic stuff. So I'm going to skip chapter 1. Right? Those are like things that we can read about. And usually when I give my midterm in class, I stay a little late. I stay a little late with my class. So usually I don't leave till like 10 o'clock or something like that. And I don't leave Queens College till 10. But in this situation, the exam is going to be on my lab. So it's 90 minutes and it's 20 questions. Okay? So let's do a little review and let's go to chapter 2. And if you see me skipping something, there's a reason, okay? Now, you guys remember this, right? Can you guys see this? No.
No.
No,
No,
I can't say anything.
Okay. Does everybody remember this? Oh, God. Okay, good. Who remembers? Ethan, you remember it?
Not enough to do it on top of my head.
Oh, okay. All right. So the 7.5 is the 10 million, right? Times 0.75, right? We minus this, right? The tax rate, 0.25, right? From 1 minus 0.25 equals 0.75 times 10 million. That's decreased by this. Then we're going to say the negative 40 million and 7.5, is it? And then we add the, hold on. Then we add the 40. Then we get 37.5. And then the cash flow is,
Could you just repeat how you got the 37.5 one more time?
hold on, let me show you. Hold on.
Sorry.
Thank you so much.
No. Give me 1 second, okay? Let me look for it.
Yeah.
I don't remember myself. Oh, wait. Give me 1 second. Edit. Oh, no, don't do that.
Oh, wait, I think I found the work that I did for this. I was
Yeah,
studying this.
wait. Hold on. Here we go. Oh, so I was right. Shit. So I was right. Okay, so you see this? Can you see it?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, now look. It's this amount, 10.2 negative, right? What you bought, the cycle converter, negative, plus 10.2 will be depreciated. That's how you come up with the 38.3.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Okay, now the last part is the impact, right? Because remember now, when you work for a firm, if you put a number down, you have to show where the number's coming from. You just can't say, oh, we just do this and do that. It doesn't work that way. So we show the impact of the cash flow. So it's the depreciation amount that you're able to, right? That's 0.75 times 10.2. And then the actual 10.2 going in, where it's coming from. And that's the free cash flow, okay? Got it?
Yeah.
Can we see the top?
This?
Okay.
All right. Give me 1 second. I tell you, forget these things real fast. Okay. All right. Does everybody, oh, hold on. Okay, can you see this?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay. So remember how we do this? How this was done? Oh, God. All right, so let's do this together. 10.3, right, sales, 10.3 minus cost of sales, it's 6.2, right? The answer you get from that, and you divide it by 10.3, right, times 100, and you get 39.8.
Can I do the next one?
Right? Go ahead.
So this is for
You
the
wanna do
local
it?
operating, yeah. This is for the local operating margin, right, B?
Okay.
So formula for that is the operating income divided by the sales.
Right,
What was
but
operating?
explain it though. Right.
Yeah, so where's the operating?
So what happens now?
You have to divide, I have to find the prices here, sorry.
Here, let me. So 10.3 minus 6.2 is 4.1, right?
Mhm.
So now you subtract 540 from the 4.1. 1,100,000 is also subtracted, and 1,200,000 is also subtracted, and you need to divide that by 10.3.
Right.
Okay? Now, the answer you got from making all these subtractions, you take the tax rate of that, right? Which is 1.65 times that number, and then divide it by 10.3, you should get 7.95. Did everybody understand that? $4.1 minus 540,000. This is for this one I'm doing. 4.1 minus 540,000 minus 1,100,000, and then minus 1,200,000. Whatever answer you get to that, you multiply it by 1 times 0.1 minus 0.35, which is 0.65. Right? That answer you divide by 10.3 times 100, you should get 7.95.
I just did a fart.
What? Did everybody get that?
Yeah,
Makes sense, right?
yeah, this makes sense.
Okay. Let me move on. All right. Now, remember this?
Yeah, market capitalization is number of shares outstanding times market price per share.
That's
That was
right.
for A.
Now, market to book ratio. The market value divided by the book ratio, by the book. So the market value is what, 297.8? And what's the book? 97.6. So we're saying that this company is worth three times the book value. Debt to equity. What's the debt? 201, and the equity is 97.6. And then here, it's debt to equity ratio, right? Oh my God. What happened to all my smart people? You're scaring me. Where is
Here, we're
everybody?
here.
Okay. Isn't it crazy, right? How we forget, how quickly we forget, right?
We forgot.
I thought you got it,
Uh,
Isn't
Professor.
that something?
Would you be able to read the question? Because I think, yeah,
What question?
this question.
Can I read it? It's right there. You don't see it?
I don't know. I can't read that fast. It's like,
Oh,
I don't
oh,
know.
that time of night. Huh? Okay, listen. It says right here, it says G debt equity ratio, right? We did that. Now let's do the enterprise value. The most important part of selling a company. It's market share plus debt minus cash. Market share plus debt minus cash. GE market debt equity ratio, book equity, right? And then market to book ratio, right? When you're doing these problems, we went over this. Just go over the formulas that you have. Write these little formulas down, right? So that way you know exactly what to do. Because you're going to start fumbling, and you don't want to go into a panic stage while you're taking the exam. You want to stay as cool as possible, right? Once you fumble, that's it. This is your gimme question. Remember, class?
Yeah.
Okay. So revenue increases by 5.03, and then you subtract the order being filled, right? Once the order that's being filled, right, with 175, you subtract that, and that's your earnings. And then your receivables, 401. Inventory decreases. That's your only decrease, is your inventory. Everything else is an increase, right? Your cash is 102, and your receivables is 401. This is your gimme question. Everybody should get this right. Everybody should get these 5 points. Okay, so this question is always negative. This question is always negative because it's dealing with depreciation. This question is always negative. So here's what we're going to do. It's telling you, it's giving you everything right there. So what effect would 9.61 operating expense have on this year's earning? What effect would it have on next year's earning? They decide that they're going to take all of their depreciation up front in one shot up front. So we're going to say 9.61 times 1 minus 0.35, which is 0.65, times 9.61. And the answer is negative 6.25. And there will be no effect, zero effect on next year's earnings because you took it all up front. The third part of the question is how much, with 1.64 for 5 years, how much are we deducting every year at, they've already done this for you. They're giving you the amount. Because if you divide 5 by 8.20, you're going to get 16.4, 1.64. That's done for you already. So all you need to do is find the value of this, right, at this tax rate. So 1.64 times 1 minus 0.35 is 0.65. So 1.64 times 0.65 is negative 1.07. Negative 1.07. Use this number, not this number. It's already given to you. And both of these are negative numbers. If you put positive, the answer is wrong. Even if you put the right amount in, the answer is wrong. There's a big difference between a positive number and a negative number. Major difference. Here, the formula is you're going to times the operating margin, right? You're going to convert that into a decimal. 0.111 times 29.9 divided by 1.25. And you should come out to 2.7. You can never multiply a percentage. You got to make it into a decimal. So 0.1, remove the decimal place 2 places. 0.111 times 29.9 divided by 1.25. And the interest coverage is 2.7. Meaning you can pay your interest 2.7 times on your loans. Everybody remember this, right? Hello, class.
Yeah, ratio, current ratio, we remember this.
All right, so tell me, let's go. 7622 divided by 7609 is equal to 1, right?
Yep.
Okay, so the other one, let's do Apple's quick ratio, right? Quick ratio is
Quick
what?
ratio is current assets minus divided by
Go
current
ahead.
liabilities.
Divided by?
Current liabilities.
Right. And we can see that Apple has a current and quick ratio demonstrate that it has much higher asset liquidity than does Hewlett Packard. This means that in a pinch, Apple has more liquidity to draw on than does Hewlett Packard. We did this one already? Okay, so let me show you something. Hold on 1 second. I got a little nervous here. Hmm. All right, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. Write these formulas because I got scared there. I didn't like what I was listening to. So for the market to book ratio is market capitalization divided by book value, even though we have it written. The second part, market to book ratio, right? It's market capitalization, right? And book value. Total debt, whatever it says here, that's your numerator, and on the second part is your denominator. So 195.8, that's the debt, and the equity ratio is what your book value is. Market debt to equity ratio. So market debt up here, 195.8. The equity is what the market, this should be market capitalization. They made a mistake here. Right? No, they didn't. They did right. They right. I'm sorry. They put equity ratio. Right. So it's market capitalization. So it's 0.57. And then the biggest part, the most important part of this ratio is your enterprise value, right? Which is your market value plus debt minus cash. That's your enterprise value. All right? Please remember this.
Why is the market debt to equity ratio not debt over equity? Why is it debt over market capitalization?
I really don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer. What did you ask? Hold on. Wait. What was the question, Michelle?
For market debt to equity ratio, it's not debt over equity, it's debt over market capitalization.
I think that was written wrong. I really do. You're talking
I
over
have it
here,
in my
right?
notes also.
Huh?
No, I think that's the correct formula. I have it in my notes. Market debt to equity is total debt over market capitalization.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're saying is equity usually means what's on the book value. Is that what you're saying, Michelle?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think no, the point that she's making, this should be market capitalization, not equity. Because equity ratio, but they use book value equity. I don't know.
I think it's just because they say market for that part of the question.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. It could be. It could be. I'm going to tell you something. When I was in grad school, I used to ask questions. Why do we say price ceiling instead of price floor? And then one time, after a while, you start to say, it's not the guy that's teaching it. It's those guys at MIT, whoever comes up with these formulas. That's who we should blame for these things. Okay? All right. So let me see what else. All right. We view this as an example. Right? this part, everybody was having a hard time with this, right? So first thing is we subtract gross from cost of sales, and then we divide that by sales times 100. Then here, we subtract all of these things from the operating income, right? The gross profit, we subtract all these things, all these expenses. And once we do that, we divide that by 10.6 times 100, and we'll come up to 12.9. Then here, the answer we get from that, we take the tax rate, 1,370,000, and we times that 1 minus 0.35 is 890. 890 divided by 10.6 times 100 is 840. One of the problems that I noticed doing the exam is that a lot of times, a lot of people start making up their own rules. What do I mean by that? Instead of like following what we say, they decide that they're going to take shortcuts. And it's like taking a shortcut without a GPS. 2 wrong turns and you don't know where you are. And then you start to panic. Anxiety sets in. So take your time, take your little notes, and that's it. Now, I've assigned the quiz for tonight. It's due on Thursday. We will continue reviewing Thursday and Tuesday. And then our exam is on Thursday. 20 questions. Chapter 1 is not included. 20 questions. Chapter 1 is not included. I omitted those 5 questions from chapter 1. And so that way we have 20 questions. Okay, and it's 90 minutes.
Thank you for that, Professor.
Okay, all right. So on that note, I'll see you guys on Thursday. Oh, wait a minute. Is who's it? Ileana, you there? Oh, she's not answering. Hold on.
Thank you, Professor.
You're very welcome.